Welcome back. The majority rule holiday, January 10th, is just 2 days away. The Bahamas gained majority rule back in 1967. This significant day was made a holiday in 2014 to remember the sacrifices made to bring about equality in the country. The Bishop Michael Eldon School holding a special assembly on Wednesday morning in commemoration of this great achievement. Italia Hall was there.
The assembly focused on the importance of majority rule and included lots of performances by students to drive home the significance of the holiday. The students were able to hear from His Excellency Maurice Moore, one of the men involved in the struggle back in 1967. He says Bahamians must remember that majority rule is not just any holiday.
It's one of the most important days in the performance of your country and your citizens carrying out their responsibility as responsible citizens. So it's the most important day in the life of the country, because from there on, you're governed according to the Constitution, and you are that government as long as the Constitution sets it out for you.
Principal of the institution, Cheryl Wood, says she believes that all educators and institutions should pause to ensure that students appreciate what the holiday is all about.
This was an important time in our Bahamian life, in the legacy of the Bahamas, when many persons, the countless many who stood for what was right, who stood with what's important for the values and for the growth of our nation. And our children may not always know this. You know, they study it in the history books. But when you have somebody like Maurice Moore who comes to speak to the children who actually was a part of that movement, it becomes a little bit more real for them, and they understand the significance. They understand the importance of what was done for us as a nation.
And Moore says it's important for Bahamians to keep this thought in mind.
I would really like for them to think about what the process of the men and women who had to stand up against what was then a minority group running the affairs of the country. It took men and women of with God's will and God's blessing to have been able to fight that and end up with a democratic society and a democratic majority government.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
A local cancer support group needs your help urgently. You see, local doctors have diagnosed a member of the group as terminally ill. However, after doing their own examinations, doctors abroad believe that they can save this grand Bahamian woman's life. More in this report. It is a matter of life and death, and the Sister organization is fighting to help Thea Forbes live. According to president of the organization, Apostle Ann Grant, Thea, a woman in her late 40s, was diagnosed with breast cancer just 3 years ago. While the disease did go into remission, it recently came back, and with a vengeance.
Thea's been struggling for such a long time. It's hard not to get a little bit emotional just knowing intimately some of what her struggles are really like. And to get a death sentence, medically speaking, at the beginning of 2020, you know, during a time when you're expecting to receive good news and you're striving to be as hopeful as possible for the new year, is devastation. It's very devastating, not just to her, but to her family.
This young mother and grandmother remains optimistic that she can have a second chance at life with the help of doctors abroad. For Tishna Stans, a member of Sister, she says Thea has to receive medical help by next week, Wednesday.
Her cancer has returned and has returned in many places of her body, her bone, her throat, and her chest. Right now, she has a tumor in the brain, and I'm sorry to say, but Bahamas has given up on her. They will do for $15,000, but they really don't want to touch her. So she went away for a second opinion, which they will touch her under one radiation. For that radiation, it costs about $25,000 to $30,000 that she needs.
Committee member Vinell Albury says it is a heartbreaking situation.
Thea could be your sister. She could be anybody's sister. And right now, financially, she really and truly needs the financial support of Grand Bahama to come forward and step up to the plate and assist us financially with helping her.
In addition to receiving radiation, Thea also has to pay for chemo pills, which are $400 every 2 weeks. These women say she simply doesn't have it, and that's why they're appealing for your help.
Thea Forbes is presently in the U.S. attending doctor, and we, the sisters that are a part of the organization, we're coming to the public. We know that we've been through a devastating hurricane.
Her family is depending on it. She has no insurance. Her family has no funds. Sister has helped her out a great deal in this in her journey, and of course sister only can do so much.
You can call 727-7976, 802-2627 or 727-1529. Greatly appreciated, and may God bless you tremendously.
And that's a look at stories making news. Ramiko, what's coming up in sports?
Well, in the New Year, semifinals continuing in the primary school basketball, and we were there to capture that action.
Stay with us. Ramiko Knowles has a check on sports when we come back.